The biggest obstacle when running a business is yourself. I believe it's yourself because if you're not implemented what is taught to you, you're gonna go out there and fail. You've done hundreds of this and you're just going through a routine, and no, you're there to serve them and take care of them what they need and want. It was very easy for me to find blame or fault instead of like slowing down and like going out there and like teaching my project manager. I'm a slow learner. It was just like intaking everything from the course. I stayed stagnant, right? There was no growth for me in 2024, but I saw it like affect my perspective on business. That really changed it for me, and it kind of made me like love what I'm doing again. Because even it's like I was making good money, at 600,000. Like I had no overhead. It was really low. Like I made money, but I wasn't really satisfied or fulfilled. The source of my success was just like really truly having integrity to myself and to my clients.
Hey everyone. On this episode of the podcast, I had Luis Aguirre on. We talked about how to sell effectively, really went deep into the sales process, into authentic selling, and what makes the difference between, selling at a 40% level versus a 60 or even 70% level. So a lot of juice there. We also talk about just the pitfalls of hiring and how to build the right culture, how to build a culture of high performance, but also high accountability, but also high love. And so, yeah, really good, packed with a lot of good information. Luis is doing a great job with his business. So hope you enjoy the listen. Thanks. All right, welcome to the Painting Business Pro podcast. I'm your host, Ben Landusky, and I'm on with Luis Aguirre, owner and operator of Standard Painting out of Charlotte, North Carolina. What's up, Luis?
What's up, Ben? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, you said it as good as you could. I know to roll them R's is pretty hard. It's Aguirre, but I always tell
Aguirre.
like, there we go. I
I'm going to
always
get it
tell
down,
people,
dude.
"Wow, you did pretty good there, bro."
Aguirre. Aguirre. Yeah. One of our business partners at MPG, her last name's Arujo. I can't do that one. It's like Arujo. Yeah, I can't quite get that R down. She's from Brazil. It's a Brazilian name, so it's Arujo. Yeah, I can't do it. But anyway, hey man, so thanks for being on. Super excited to have this conversation with you. So let's just jump right in. You last year in 2025, we were just talking before the pod. Last year in 2025, so sold 1.2 million, produced 1.1 million with a 30% net. Is that right?
Yes.
So those are good numbers, man, especially the net. Everyone loves to talk revenue, but net profit is arguably the more important number for a business.
Yeah.
That really shows more the health of a business, and that's like the actual money made. So, just want to hear like what worked for you last year. What was at the source of your success last year when it just in your business?
The source of my success was just like really truly having integrity to myself and to my clients. It really just started with, taking it serious to um call all these leads and go out there to really take care of customers. So I really like pounded the sales part of the course and went out there and just took care of people. And this was actually my first year ever hitting them. I didn't think it was gonna be possible for me. It's like so um like when they introduced that leadership role and they were like, talking about all these stuff, and I'm like, wow, where do I lag? Where do my tires are flat? And I cleaned up a lot of that, and so that like propelled us to be able to accomplish our goals. It filled a lot of the cracks where it was just, we were losing clients.
So before last year, what were you doing different? You said you're losing clients. Like what action changed for you from years prior? Because you've been running your business for several years now. So like, but there's this big shift last year. So what was the shift in either view, but also in action that we would have just, if we just watched you in 2024 versus 2025, like what was the difference there?
2024 was like, I'm a slow learner. It was just like intaking everything from the course. So like I stayed stagnant, right? There was no growth in me in 2024, but I saw it like affect my perspective on business and most importantly people. Like that really changed it for me, and it kind of made me like really love what I'm doing again. Because even before this, like I was making good money, at six hundred thousand. Like I had no overhead. It was really low. Like I made money, but I was like I wasn't really satisfied or fulfilled. I was like I'm not changing anyone's life but myself. And so I wanted more for the people around me. And so when Doug finally called me up, he was the guy to convince me to join the mastery group. And since like the first spring event and like going through that part of the leadership program, that's what really switched it for me.
Hmm,
It
that's awesome.
it brought something more.
What exactly did it bring? Because that I've heard that several times now.
Yeah.
Like just people moving to mastery and dealing with like their own bullshit, honestly.
Yeah, 100.
Dealing with their own this stuff they've put up with themselves and their business for a long time. So what was it with you? You mentioned like actually even just calling leads. Like was that like that became one of the big focuses for you?
Yeah, I was like, because I would lack integrity. Like, I would like, oh, I sold $50,000 jobs. Like, I don't really need to call these leads. It just started there. It was like, let me call these leads regardless of what am I doing in sales. Like, calling people, communicating, and actually going out to serve people. So it started really with that was a big one.
Yeah.
Uh, was just having integrity of continuing to follow the course regardless of how my business was doing.
Nice.
And it always brings me back on track. Like anytime I'm struggling with something, I go to that part of the course, or I go to now I feel really comfortable about going to one of the members and like, hey, I'm dealing with this and like how should I, approach this and to have that support, like it just brings a lot of clarity and it brings you back on track.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the power of the environment, at PvP is huge. Because there's so many people who are right there. I mean, this is it's such a cool thing to have, like not doing it because you are a solo entrepreneur, like you're the sole owner of your business, right? So
Yes.
so you are a sole entrepreneur, but that's what's beautiful about this community is like there's people, I don't know, across the country dealing with the same exact stuff as you know, or
Yeah.
have in the past. So um, that's really great, man. I will just underline for people listening, like you've mentioned this a couple times already, but serving your clients, um, that is monumental. And I think it's really hard to have success if you don't have that flat for yourself. Like, yeah, so the way we say it at National Painting Group and when we're doing our training, whether it's with a sales rep or a business owner, it's like the homeowners first. Like they're first. Like
Yeah.
their needs and wants are first. Now, but that doesn't mean you don't exist. You're just second. Like you're just a distant second. So it's like, because it's not like you don't exist. Like you still do, and you're still going and giving free estimates and spending your time with people. So it's like you do still matter, but can you just put yourself just behind them just for the hour and a half you're with them, and then when you're producing the job,
Yeah.
can you just can you just like put them first temporarily and yourself second. And then once you leave, you can put yourself first again if you want. But that shift for our people, like when sales reps and NPG get really discover that shift, sales rate skyrockets because it's
Oh
just
my
not
goodness.
about
Yeah.
sales rate anymore. It's not about booking jobs. It's like, yeah, that's fun. That comes with it. But it's like, I'm just gonna go serve my people and just trust. I'm just gonna trust that I'm gonna get taken care of, you know?
That was huge. Like when I like that finally like was like very clear in my head and it changed everything for me with sales. And like just the initial phone call, like really does set you up. Like when you walk through that front door and you're meeting these people, they're prepared. They're
Yeah.
prepared to be informed and educated and like really truly care about the estimate. Because like when we lack integrity to doing the initial call, right? It's like you can tell a huge difference. Like they're not prepared, they're it's just not good. Like they're halfway there and they're like, okay, you're just gonna email me a price. It just that prepares them like to go through over the contract and 50% of the time, we're booking on the spot
Yeah.
because of because of
Really
when we
nice.
do the
Yeah.
book. Yeah,
Wow.
when we call and everything and doing our pre-closes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's so anyone listening, it's funny. I just had Kyle Horn on the podcast, like um, just came out a few days ago, I think. Um, but very similar things he said, um, which is good. We want to hear that. Like just following the systems, with integrity
Yeah,
is like people, tip like it's hard to just do the right thing consistently because it becomes kind of boring. But
yeah,
high performance, if you just watch someone performing at a high level, think of like Kobe Bryant. Yeah, he's famous for like how hard he worked in the gym and his practicing.
yeah.
It's boring, dude. He'd show up like 6 a.m. and just shoot like 10,000 free throws, like over and over and over. And his looks, like I'm sure he had very many times he was bored, but he just kept doing it and he didn't deviate from the process. And then the less people deviate from the process, that it's just there's just no like anomaly to this. Like you have success when you stick to the process, you know.
100%,
Um,
100%. Because there's sometimes like I catch myself like I'm in the middle of an estimate. I'm like, I'm doing a stock estimate. Like I'm just going through the
yeah,
routine. I'm doing this so much, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So like I kind of just like get back into the groove. But I'm glad that now I can catch myself doing some of this stuff like which before I couldn't.
yeah,
I'm like, what's going on? And it's when you're doing a stock estimate and you're not taking care of your customer because it's probably their first time painting their brand new home that they just moved into, and you've done hundreds of this, and you're just going through a routine. And no, you're there to serve them and take care of them what they need and want.
yep,
And that's
yep,
that's the beauty of the sales part of the PBP course that you guys offer.
yep, yeah. Well, and so the excuse me, the initial call you mentioned too. For everyone listening, yeah, follow every single system. If you don't follow the initial call system, one of my old mentors, like way back when I did college works painting, like before I
Uh
even
huh.
joined forces with Eric, like this was back in '09. He said something that stuck with me, like with American football, it's like if you don't do the initial call well, when you get to the game, it's like trying to throw a Hail Mary to the end zone. It's like trying to throw a Hail Mary versus when you do the initial call, it's like setting yourself up at like the 20-yard line, like you're
Hundred
like
percent.
their 20-yard line, like you're like ready to score. And it's just so good because just like you said, you'll still book jobs on Hail Marys sometimes. Like when you do a crappy initial call, like you'll get lucky, but like, yeah, people are like, so you're just going to email this to me? And they'll say, like, well, I'm not even close to making a decision. Or, oh, yeah, no, I'll call you back later. Like they're not ready to buy if you don't do a thorough initial call. So, yeah, it just can't be understated. Follow the initial call the way it's designed 100%.
Yeah. And just sticking through those systems and then like being able to catch yourself like doing some of the stuff where it just becomes robotic and just having
Yeah.
that self-awareness. I think it helps out a ton.
Yeah. Well, and that's so again for people listening, I think, and maybe you can attest this, Luis. Like, so with the systems, you need to learn. There's this weird. It's almost like a paradox here for people listening because you need to learn the systems. You need to do the system. Like you need to like follow the systems, and sometimes that can feel a little robotic, like just following the systems. But you do need to get them down and understand them like the back of your hand, so that you don't need to think about them. So that like
Yeah.
what you're saying, Luis, like if you guys are listening to Luis, it's like he can go in there. He's following the system, but he's not thinking about the system. He's like with people, and so you can build rapport randomly throughout a Q&A because you know you're going to bring it back to wherever it needs to be brought back to when that rapport is done. And so
Yeah.
you can like take care of people. But if you don't know the systems like the back of your hand yet, it's hard because then you're kind of thinking about both things at once. And that just takes repetition and role play and practice. But like do that, understand it so you can go in and work from the systems, but not like be so like tied to them and not be so like, okay, well, we're talking about colors, but next I got to talk about time frame. And you're like not even in the conversation with them now, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. a
yeah,
hundred
really good.
percent. I just
Um,
love meeting new people, and walking in
yeah,
through that door. And it almost feels like when I'm walking into a property now, it feels very normal. Like I remember when I first started to actually follow the sales course to the T, like I felt very nervous, like when I would sit down with them and like be like talking about the numbers. But now it just feels like very, very natural, and it feels weird when I don't do it or when I'm not available to do that. Because it's like a super big project that I might need to. It's gonna take me 3 hours to build. It's rare. 90% of the time I'm able to build estimates, but just trusting that, and it's okay that you guys might feel uncomfortable, but just practice it, do it, and so it just becomes second nature. And like a lot of us are not used to going into other people's home. It's just like just getting used to that too. And I
yeah,
usually look around the house and feel look for a way to connect with people genuinely. If that's like through a sports team, I love fishing, or if I see fishing gear, I'll automatically start talking about, like, hey, what lakes, what do you recommend? What do you like to fish? It's just like genuinely connecting with the person. And then obviously you're always the one that brings it back to paint.
good. Yep. Yeah, really good. Okay, well, that's you just keep saying too good of stuff for me to not underline for the listen for the listener. So yeah, you know, for people who are listening to this, like if you're just starting or if your sales rate is less than 50%, you really need to like listen to what Luis repeat this podcast because um, rapport is one of the most important fundamental parts of sales, and everyone should be aware of that. Um, but what you're pointing to is this authentic sales as far as like authentic rapport. Yeah, if you see, if, I'm not a big fisher. If I see fishing rods, I don't know. I mean, I used to fish with my dad, but like I don't probably wouldn't mention that. But if I saw like a football team, like NFL team, I love I would talk their ear off about that if that's like something they
Yeah.
care about too. So, using the artifacts and evidence around the house. And look, you may not have to you don't have to be like so passionate about everything. I'm not saying that necessarily, but don't act like you're a big fisherman if you're not. So like if
Yeah.
I saw a fly rod, I'd be like, "Oh, big fly fisherman." Like I've only really lured fish. I've never fly fished. Like tell me more about it. So like if I'm genuinely curious about something, that's fine too. But don't act, a lot of time I used to do this too, but when I'm training, salespeople, it's like they see like a NASCAR thing and they like, oh, cool, yeah, NASCAR, and the guy's like, yeah, you like, yeah, I do, and then they start talking. You can't even have the conversation. Like, I don't know anything about NASCAR. Like Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's like that's about as much as I know. So
Yeah.
and I'm not really curious about NASCAR either. So I'm probably not going to talk about NASCAR. But if you are curious about it, then and you don't know anything about it, then just ask. Like, hey, I don't know much. Tell me more. And people who are passionate about things they're passionate about, like if someone said that to you about fishing, you'd like, hey, sit down and get comfortable. I got a lot to say. Like they're
Yeah.
they're gonna want to talk to you about it. So I think just to underline that for everyone listening, like authentic rapport, like genuine rapport, authentic
Yes.
rapport is the only rapport you should be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Because if not, like they'll just put a guard up, they'll catch it, and good
Yeah.
luck at that point.
Exactly. And people, they won't always say that. They won't always tell you like that. You won't always notice it. They'll be nice about it. But I think people need to remember you are walking in and there, it is a sale. Like it is, you are going to come in with a, $5,000, $10,000, contract at the end. And so people already have their bullshit meters up, right? Like they're already their antennas are already up a little bit. And so
Yeah.
it's even more important for you to connect, like what you're saying, Luis. It's even more important for you to connect to authenticity, genuinely taking care of your clients, because they're already going to have this bias that you're going to like that you're doing this just in order to get the sale. So the only way to like counterbalance that is to genuinely not give a shit for that hour and a half about the sale.
It's
Genuinely
so
just go have
true.
fun with people. That's it,
100%.
you know?
Yeah, 100%. You will close a lot more than anyone else if you truly don't care and you're there to be their advisor.
If you listen to the podcast, almost every single person that we talk to on this show is someone that we have worked with at Painting Business Pro. If you run a painting company or you're starting a painting company and you are really serious about building an amazing business while having a great lifestyle along the way, that is what we do best. When you work with us, you'll plug in to all of the systems, playbooks, training, and get coaching from me and my team. That's the training, systems, playbooks, and team that runs our currently $40 million portfolio of painting companies. It's the stuff that's working right now. We're actually doing this stuff day in and day out, and we love coaching people and helping people grow. So if you're interested in getting some help and working with us, head over to paintingbusinesspro.com and apply now, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Now, it doesn't mean that you guys, the initial phone call is there for a reason, and we keep coming back to is to weed certain people that, might not be the best to, and there's no such thing as a bad lead, but you do weed out people that, you know, um, might not be the ideal client for your business. And you guys can pick and choose of who you decide to do that. But there's no such thing as a bad lead.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's of course we'd all love the cherries, right? Full exterior, colors already picked out, same colors, ready to go. Like would love if that's all the estimates we do, but not always the case,
That
So you do need
that's
to understand, yeah, your scope, your wheelhouse, like what you're okay with, for everyone listening. But yeah, definitely there's a tendency for us to blame the leads, you know, like, oh, I need better leads. It's like, or are you just looking for like perfection with the leads? Maybe a
yeah.
little bit of both.
Like I had a biased opinion like about certain leads, right? And obviously we don't go out if it's like a job under a certain amount anymore because I just really can't afford it. Like I'll give them like a almost like a virtual consultation through the phone, like with pictures and this and that, and figure it out. Like, yeah, we're good with that, Luis, and we'll definitely go out there and maybe send one painter to go out and knock that out because we've landed projects where we've just done one bathroom, but for the next door neighbor, we painted their full exterior house. That's a $10,000 job for going out and doing a small $600 to $700 job. It's once you have like once I'm like in the stage I am and you're trying to build a team, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to do. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like how do I systemize like when it is a good time to go out there and look at that or when it's not.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that a little bit. Um, so do you have employees right now?
So I have a project manager and we run 2 to 3 sub crews like full time. And then it's my wife, which she does all the marketing and administrative work.
Okay, nice. Okay, so wife does marketing and administrative. Um, and then you have a project manager who manages your three subs, you said?
Yes.
And how long have they been with you? Your PM?
Erin has been with me for now 6 months, and my wife has been with me since forever. But like, really taking on these roles maybe about a year now.
Okay.
And I'm so glad I came to her and I was like, hey, can you just help me out with marketing because I feel like I'm spread too thin and I can't focus on some of this other stuff that I feel I could bring a lot more to the company. And that was just like going out there and giving estimates to produce more sales. And when she took over marketing, like the first month, I was like, just, listen to Evan and follow what he recommends. And she's been doing that. And now she's giving me advice of like, hey, Luis, we need to do this and we need to start implementing this. And I need you to get this from me. And it's like, these last 2 winters we've been busy because of that.
Nice. Yeah.
Before it was like in January, February, we were maybe doing like 25, $30,000 months, and like back to back we're like in the 70 to $90,000. Like I, I I had this biased opinion that there was no work, and there's plenty of work out there.
Yeah.
Plenty of.
That's
And
awesome.
the biggest obstacle when running a business is yourself. You know, I believe it's yourself, because if you're not implemented what is taught to you, um, it's you're gonna go out there and fail. And like today, I got a really important email from Christiana about a productive assessment. That to me was like, wow, like I really needed this. Like I needed to like, how do I take my failures and like really like slow down and think through them and create openings and opportunities to fix those and give my guys ownership instead of like blame and fault and all this. And that to me, it was like, thank God I needed that. Like I needed some type towards a guidance of like leading, even though it's just two people now, but like how do we how do we as three people together, how do we lead this company forward and propel it even higher? Like what are we capable of?
Hmm. When you said she sent you a productive assessment, what do you mean by that?
Um, it was like, how do we assess like whatever failures were were like occurring in our business, right? That being like marketing, like okay, we can easily blame like, hey, you're not setting up the ads right, or just blame and like fall in frustration, or you could just like come with a different perspective of like, okay, how can we really sit down together and work through this and figure out how do we create like accountability and ownership and really truly fix that problem.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. And I
Hmm.
was like, I really needed that. Like I needed a way to almost sit down with people and like be able to walk through them and explain it like almost with apples or sticks, and get through it, whatever that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Even with
Well,
production, because I know we went from like producing 100 to $150,000 months in our peaks to like maybe during our slower time like 50 to 60, where we weren't getting callbacks and this and that. And I'm like, what's going on? Like we went from like producing amazing work, and now we're slower and we're getting callbacks. Like it was very easy for me to find blame or fault instead of like slowing down and like going out there and like teaching my project manager, okay, look, this is how we need to really assess this and fix this and communicate and set expectations and accountability. I'm just rambling now, but it really helped me how to like really bring everything in and tie that part of my business up.
well, and so I think what Christiana was pointing towards, and so one of our values at National Painting Group is unwavering accountability. And what that means is we are free to hold ourselves and each other accountable. Accountable to what? Well, our other value is extraordinary performance. So when you're dealing with so what Luis and I are talking about right now is really two things. And what I see, Luis, you tell me if I'm wrong, but one is holding myself accountable and calling myself on my own BS, and then how I can also hold my employees and my team members accountable, right? And
Yes.
there's always reasons and justifications and very valid defenses to low lead flow, low conversion, low sales rate, high amount paid to painter, Like you could, you can blame everything. You can blame weather. You can blame the economy. You can blame the homeowner. You can blame the sub. Um, and I think this is where people get it wrong. You in a court of law, maybe if you brought your scenario to a court of law, maybe you're right. Like maybe actually, yeah, maybe a judge would look at it and say like, yeah, based on the evidence, that homeowner, yeah, it's more on the homeowner than you. And they bang the gavel and they're like, you're right. It's more on the homeowner than you. And then you walk out of the courtroom with nothing in your hand. So I think, or another, just instead of a homeowner, it's like your conversion. It's like, yeah, you know what, based on the leads and based off of like the economy and stuff, the judge is like, yeah, I think conversion being only 20% instead of 50, I think you're justified with that. You're right, and hammer down. And then you walk out of the courtroom with the same conversion rate. Like,
Yeah.
and I want people to get like that. I'm not saying maybe you are right, but who gives a shit if it doesn't improve your life or your business? Like, are you more committed to being right, or are you more committed to building something incredible and building a business that you're proud of and and that you're fulfilled by and that you enjoy building? And that's where people can get it wrong, where they're like, well, no, I'm right. Like the weather's bad and the economy sucks and I'm mad and these homeowners don't want to work with me and these painters always want more money. It's like, okay, how's that going for you? You know, like just
Yeah.
how's it going? And mostly not good. Most of the answer is
Yeah.
like it sucks. I'm pissed, versus so for everyone listening, the flip side and what I think you really tapped into, it sounds like, Louis, especially like last year and into this year, is like, well, hold on, like I'm accountable to building. I'm accountable to making this happen. I'm accountable to taking care of my clients, taking care of my employees, taking care of my family. Like I'm accountable regardless of the circumstance. And when you stand there and you hold yourself accountable to high performance and you start looking for ways you can elevate, you start to see them. You start to see things you didn't see before. And then when you have a group of people doing that, at Foothills, we got 17 employees who all look from that lens. Holy shit. There's some like holy shit results happening. Um, just like there are for you, because you and your team, it sounds like if not already have like grasped that, you're working on grasping that distinction. Would you agree with that? Or is that the way I said that, or anything to
Yes,
add or
100%.
tweak?
It's just like, yeah, everything you just said is true. Um, like we've been, just taking everything more seriously, like team meetings, regardless if it's just three of us or just like working one on one. And that's with my wife or with Aaron, project management. I would really love to bring in someone for sales, but I really want to get a grasp of like leadership like before I do that, and like an onboarding and training, like really pausing myself to develop like this badass project manager. Even if we do bring in an extra sales guy, that he's able to really produce all that. And I know my wife is capable of like ramping up our marketing and getting us a ton more leads to be able to do that. I just really want to sharpen my leadership skills even more. And, hopefully I'm more ready like 6 months from now, based off like being more intentional and holding myself accountable to develop those skills.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I received the integrity slides maybe about 2 years ago, and like just now recently, like I just revisit them, and look at them.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I doing this before? Like I get caught in this like default life of like where I'm too busy, but now like I make it intentional that I see that and I put my eyes on it and that I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what changed for us, like just following it, and because there's a lot of amazing people here, and like when I see that they're crushing it out here, like it inspires me, like to pursue that same thing. It's like we can be one of those guys and follow in their footsteps.
Totally, dude. 100%. Because for sure you can, because there's nothing like there's no special sauce at Foothills or Elkhorn or Triangle Pro, like Greenhouse. There's no special sauce. There's just owners and employees who are super committed to integrity and super committed to building authentic businesses and super committed to following the systems. And that's it. So like when you got a group of committed people, it's just a math equation. Like it just equals results when you do it that way. And yeah, a lot of people, the integrity, I messed around with my integrity. I mean, I got introduced to this model of integrity 16 years ago now. And I mean, I was 19, so I was a total schmuck anyway, but I just really messed around and didn't take it seriously for, a few years. And then I finally got knocked over the head enough times to be like, man, what if I just like looked at my word as my promise and kept my word whenever I possibly could and honor it when I can't keep it and start to really have integrity in my life. And dude, everything shifted. Everything fucking shifted. So I'm really glad you brought up integrity because it's when I'm coaching business owners, like business partners, employees, doesn't matter who it is, PPP members, so much of the time it comes back to integrity. I mean, so much of the time it comes back to that. And a close second is is time management in your calendar because that's where your integrity lives, so to speak. So yeah, thanks for hitting on that. That's
No,
great.
man, it's life changing. Because what Eric and you and Hunter are building, and like you guys bringing on Jeff, like when Eric said, "Hey," like when I went to the first event, it's like, "Hey, it's gonna be even better next time you come." I was like, "Yeah, okay." I came back, and that it was like 10 times better. Like, and I can see
Yeah.
like how you guys like so dialed in and like just so professional, man, and like you practice and practice, and I want people like that in my corner. you know
Yeah.
um I
Yeah.
appreciate it because it changed my lives, and you guys are gonna change like other people's lives within my own life. It really propels, and it goes more than just us. You guys affect so
Yeah.
much. I will forever be grateful for finding that program back in 2016.
I appreciate you saying that, man. It's super fulfilling, and it's cool to, yeah, it's nice to slow down and just acknowledge the ripple effect, of what we're doing. And hey, man, I appreciate you being on and, you're just right back at you. It's one thing to have everything we have, but people actually coming in and proving it over and over and over again, never get enough of that. So your story from what you were doing the last 9 years, and then you come and do it and then you finally, take it on and you go have a year like you had last year, and I bet you're gonna have a great year this year, man. It's
I'm
inspiring to me,
excited,
dude.
man.
Like I'm inspired as hell by people like you. So the feeling's mutual. So
Thank you,
appreciate you
brother.
for being on, man. Yeah, we'll have to do a round two. Maybe towards the end of the year, kind of see where you're at,
100%, yeah.
see how things are going. So all right, Luis, thanks for being on, brother.
Thank you.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the show, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the podcast and what you gotten out of it. It helps our show reach more people and inspire more people. Thank you so much.